Hey, it's Dave from Bullpen Cycles. I'm here after my surgery. I got my staples out yesterday. Everything's going actually very well. I'm here in my overflow building because I'm not allowed to drive, at least for a number of weeks yet. So I have some friends coming over. They're going to put together this Benelli Leoncino that I got last week at the dealer auction, along with those two SSR Enduro dirt bikes. After that, we'll have them pull out some of our race bikes that are here that I don't think you've got to see, and I'll show you those, and maybe they'll take the Benelli or the SSR or both for a short spin, fire them up. But first, I want to thank you all for your words of support, your prayers especially, and all the kind well wishes. I'm doing good. It's going to be a quiet couple of weeks, and I got an idea for you during the downtime. So I'm not going to be able to make too many videos since I'm kind of trapped here. So I thought of this idea. Here's how you can participate and help me, not with any money, but I'd like if you would send me pictures or short video clips, enough pictures that I can show your motorcycle, maybe some videos, and write a couple of paragraphs. Send those to bullpencycles@gmail.com, and we'll do a special, like a reader's rides, a viewer's rides episode, and I'll pick 5 or 10 of the most interesting, and I don't really know what the criteria is going to be. It could be something unique, it could be something that has a good story, it could be something that is popular, other people want to see. It might be based on the quality of your pictures, of your video, whatever. It doesn't have to be something you own now. It could be something you used to have and you wish you had back, or tell us something special about it, why it was your favorite or your least favorite, and I'll try to add in my 2 cents. And we'll have that coming up. I'll give the people we select, I'll send you a t-shirt. Now I only go up to 2X, and I might have to have a couple 2X made yet. Anyway, we're waiting here for our friends. We'll get this Benelli going. Those SSRs, and see what they sound like. Well folks, you guys remember Oscar from his Cross Florida tour with us, and he's wearing the shirt. I'm scolding him for not coming in proper Bullpen Cycles attire. That's it, just handlebars in there.
Yep.
And the bolts.
This is...
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the bolts, yeah.
Well, since we only have one guy lifting out of the crate, we cut the crate out from under it with a whiz wheel, but it took 2 guys, well, 1.5.
I know, I saw that.
That's what they used to do on their old Benellis, like from the 30s and 40s.
Wow.
So the Chinese got some style.
Yeah.
So the big box was handlebars. we expect a battery and a toolkit.
And that is correct. We got a nice Chinese
And mirrors.
battery. Owner's manual, toolkit.
Oh, that's sort of cool. Oh,
Some nice reflectors.
I guess they go on the fork legs. Deal with them later.
Make them safety legal.
And mirrors. Yeah, let's roll it out and see what it looks like. What's the matter? Steering bearing's tight. Are they really?
Yeah, something's doing some pop.
Oh my gosh. Here, hold this.
Maybe the
That's what it is,
Clutch.
this cable.
clutch.
Oh, okay. It's the clutch cable. See how it's bent?
Yeah.
We gotta reroute that.
Okay.
But I can do that later. Well, I'll do that while you look at an SSR. Okay. Oh, you had me scared there for a second.
Yeah, I was scared. Okay, so it's just the rerouting of the cable.
So this is an SSR, I think a XF250X. Hang on, Bruno, you got tangled. Why are you going that way, Bruno? You're not tangled at all. Come. Not as much bling as the other one, huh?
No.
Street tires, they're not even like dual sport tires.
No, they're not.
It's kind of like a very poor man's super motard. See what's in the box. From the owner's manual. Bolts,
The bolts
probably
we
for the
need.
luggage rack, maybe. Oh, and fenders. Oh, one of those things. That's for the handlebars. There's a name for that. That's an old school thing. There's a toolkit and ugly reflectors, which we are not putting on. Mirrors.
Yep.
And a battery. A green lithium battery. Oh boy. So much for green, but I'm not nuts about lithium batteries. And it has, check this out. This is a copy of a vintage, and they call them a debruiser. And that goes up there with wire ties. And it's got a fender and fork leg shields. So the nicest thing about this bike is this luggage rack. Oh, here's a toolbox. And that has to get bolted up there. That's for the seat. Here's the battery box. I don't know what that vent hose is. So we got these gassed up, assembled. This is a 2022, I think it's a XF250X by SSR, made by Shangding in China. And I tell you, I guess it's okay for the money, but I wasn't real impressed with it. These actually listed for $3,500 plus a $350 destination fee, which means you'd be into one of these for $4 grand if you bought one new at list price. We're probably going to blow these out for under half price or close. Anyway, what I didn't like is the fit and finish is kind of average. It looks like they painted the exhaust with stove paint. The panels didn't really want to line up. We kind of had to force them. I don't like that it's got a 17-inch front wheel with road tires, because it's not really a super motard. They advertise it as an enduro. Now they do make an enduro. It comes with knobbier tires, and I think the rest of the bike is the same. I don't know what all the different nomenclatures are, so we're just going to go with it. Now I'm not allowed to ride because of my surgery, but we can at least hear it. Look, it says DOT in the mirrors, so that's actually street legal. Hit the key. It's carbureted, so you got a choke, and what you got to realize is it's got a safety stand there. Suzuki clone, at least the engine should be okay. Which brings us on to the next Chinese bike. This thing. This is a Benelli Leoncino. Now these are also imported by SSR. And I don't think Benelli actually officially designated them as their importer distributor. I think what SSR does is goes around China and buys a whole bunch of bikes from factories, ships them over here and sticks their name on it, which they can't do with Benelli because Benelli is a name brand. But all these Chinese bikes, they're all made by somebody else, and they say SSR on the side, which is probably good for branding, but it doesn't mean you're getting a quality bike. This bike actually impressed me just by, first of all, it looks good. Second of all, the fit and finish, everything's pretty nice. I love the 50mm front forks, the giant radial dual disc front. Now, they tell me that these were designed in Italy but sold in China, and you're thinking, yeah, right. But no, look at this little lion. That is from an old Benelli. They used to do that in the 40s and 30s in the old Benelli bikes. So if somebody from Benelli took a little bit of heritage just to make this bike ring back to the old days, even though it's made in China. And these listed, my gosh, these were like $7 grand plus well, maybe just under $7 grand. But with your $350 destination charge, you'd be into one for $7 grand, which seems like a lot of money. We're gonna blow these out for probably half that. But anyway, let's hear what it sounds like. Fuel injected, 6-speed. And that's all I know. I think maybe 47 horsepower, I'm not sure. But I don't have to worry about choke because it's fuel injected. Now I don't think SSR is getting any more Benellis. Actually, I think Benelli cut them off and they went their separate ways. I don't know if Benelli's coming back to America, but this is their #1 selling bike worldwide. So parts are available, and they'll be available from SSR for a while. After that, we have to think about what Benelli's going to do. But not a bad looking bike. When I get better, we'll take them for a ride. Now, I'm going to show you those race bikes I told you about that are hiding in the corner. So while we got the Benelli together and we're talking Italian bikes, we have this, and this is not a Benelli, it's a Moto-Morini, but it's almost a semi-famous Moto-Morini. This bike I found in pieces in the bottom of actually in the basement of a dealer that I bought. And it just looked like an old Moto-Morini until my friend pointed out this sticker, which is now getting hard to read, that says TMB Racing, Maxitawny, PA. That's Tom Bovaird. I tracked down Tom. Tom was a well-known race tuner. He was married to Gina Bovaird, and Gina Bovaird was the first woman to complete the Daytona 200. I think that was around 1980. She went on to race MotoGP. At Daytona she was running, I think it was a TZ 500. This was actually her amateur bike, her Moto-Morini that she raced before signing with Yamaha. Tom recognized the bike because Tom built those rear sets and drilled all those holes. Tom would later become known in his own right as a tuner, and he actually tuned bike for Graziano Rossi. That's Valentino's dad. So this bike we put together, this is actually a reproduction of the Moto-Morini production race bike from the era. This is an actual production race bike part. They made a race version of this bike. This bike came from Providence, Rhode Island. It was owned by John Reagan. When John Reagan was dating Gina Bovaird, this was John's bike. John bought the production racer, and the pair raced together. And John would lament that Gina would always beat him on the non-production racer. Both bikes were later sold to Tom Bovaird when Gina hooked up with Tom. And Tom remembers racing them at Bridgehampton, New York, before Gina signed with Yamaha. He said you could hold it wide open all the way around Bridgehampton, except for one turn where you had to cut the throttle a little bit. So I had this bike done, and a lot of people helped, and I took it to the Concours d'Elegance in Radnor, and I won. I was surprised that I won, and amazingly enough, Gina came out and gave me the award. 33, that's John Reagan's number. And this is another bike with special history. This is a GTR. They made 10 of them. They were a specially designed flat track bike made in England for the US market. They wanted something from England stout enough to compete with the Harley-Davidson XR750. And the Triumph motors weren't stout enough. GTR is Gordon, Ted, and I think Roger. Ted is Ted Hubbard. He was the American from North Carolina. The other two are from the UK, I believe. This is number 1 of 10. They had to make 10 bikes to get them to qualify for the AMA Flat Track Series. They made 10 bikes and 15 motors. You could order the motor out of the back of Cycle News if you wanted. How do I know this is production 1? Well, because it's painted. All the other ones had nickel-plated frames. Ted Hubbard's bike now, Ted's gone. His bike is owned by Benno Rodi, who I have not met. And they were raced back in the day by, and I get the two Singletary brothers together mixed up. You have Dave and Dale. And who won Daytona? I think Dale won Daytona. So David was the one that raced these for Ted. Not a Triumph twin motor. It's a Weslake 750 twin. Developed by Dave Norrish when he worked for Weslake. He went off on his own Norrish engineering, I guess, and they would design a 4-valve head for Triumph and later a Norton. But this is not a Triumph motor, this is a Weslake, and see there it's pre-unit. So this was something out of the Weslake parts bin that was put together later for this bike. And when I needed lower end bearings, we found them to interchange with a Triumph Dolomite car, which tells you how the cottage industry in England works, especially Westlake. They take parts that they can from existing manufacturers and cut them down and use them for their own purposes. This particular one has a story because when Ted was trying to homologate the bikes, he needed racers to race them and display them and do the troubleshooting and development on them, and he found a little young Greg Collins outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, who was an up-and-coming racer. He got Greg Collins to race this with Don West at West Cycle Shack as the mechanic. And Greg Collins would die tragically in a motorcycle accident where a car took out a number of motorcyclists riding on the street. Later it was raced by Jimmy Sutter, that's number 43, in District 6. It would originally have a Bewley 2-speed transmission, but they took it out and put in the Norton transmission with a Norville belt drive. They said if you missed a gear, you'd lose the race, and they found the Bewley transmission to be not very forgiving. Now, I don't understand that, because I would have figured with a 2-speed transmission you'd start out in second. So I'm not quite sure how that story is. It also now has a Bader front because it was crashed, and that might have been Larry Weiss that crashed it. A number of other people raced this, including one of the Cercelo brothers, and later Tom Majeski. And I have Mikuni carbs on it now. It would have had Amo Mark IIs. When I got this bike, there was nothing but a seized motor in a frame. The glass is correct. It's painted as it was raced. It would have had a Lockheed brake, which I have, but it's locked up, so we have Brembos on it. Theoretically, you could race it, but I'm not. I'm told it would win whenever it raced, but it would break down more often than not. It's well known in District 6 for being very fast, and that's about it. So those are our 2 race bikes that I wanted to show you, kind of round out the day. I'm still in the, what do you call it, the transition phase. So remember our little contest for our readers' rides, and I'll get back at you with another video as I am able. Thanks for watching.